Hi and welcome to Slick Willy Flying. Today what we're going to do are these reverse tie little craft fur bait fish that are all going to be going to the United States. Having a little sip of my cocktail. So I'm sending a selection of flies to a good friend in America. It's going to be some streamers, it's going to be some freshwater nymphs and dries and all kind of stuff. But right now I'm focused on these little super simple little micro bait fish. This is about 2.5 inches long total length, 7 centimeters for my European friends. I have a bunch of different alternatives here that I'm sending them that you can see. This in the vise is basically 2 materials and a little flash. This one is what I call my tequila sunrise. This is a little bit more traditional bait fish. I put a little bit of angel hair on top just to give it a little contrast. But again, it's only 2 colors of craft fur. This one is 2 colors of craft fur, and then I put a little flat wing on top just to give it a little something special. So I decided that I'm going to make one similar to this, so I can show you how I keep the colors really separated, how I make that contrast. And I think it's pretty easy. I'll explain how I do this blend of the orange and yellow while I'm making this one. So I don't think I need to make both videos, but I'll probably fast forward through the entire process of the UV head. And I think I'm actually going to make a second video of only a UV head that I can use to link. But yeah, I think we could talk materials. So in this particular fly, I use 2 colors of craft fur and some angel hair. The one I'm going to make, just because I like to have a little variety, I'm probably going to use 3 colors of craft fur. The bottom is going to be this cream color. Then I'm going to go, the next step up will probably be this yellow. And the last one that I'm going to use will be this, what they call sand. And probably going to use a little bit of UV pearl. It's like a Flashabou pearl. And possibly I'll throw in a little bit of angel hair on top again. Either this dark green color or maybe some black again. But we'll see when we get there. For eyes, I'm going to use these stickers. These are perfect for this head. These are the exact same eyes I used on this head. They come out great. For a hook, I'm going to use a size, this is a size 10 streamer hook. I might make it one size bigger. Maybe I go to a size 8 just to make the video a little easier for you to see everything. But the overall length of the fly will be the same. I don't think I have that much more to talk about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the camera angle. I have another sip of my cocktail. And I'm going to actually pre-prep the material so that the fly goes quick. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And I'll change the camera angle. And yeah, let's tie a fly. Okay, so I have pre-prepped my craft fur just to save a little time. And let's go ahead and put a hook in. Like I said, I'm using a number 8 streamer hook. And this is going to be about the same size fly as we just took out of the vise, but I just want a little bit more space so you can see how I do this. Thread color doesn't really matter, but remember your thread will show. So I guess for this one, I have a few here ready. I had an olive there. I have this orange. I like the orange between the eyes. But this is going to be a kind of a creamy color fly, so I think I'm going to go with the olive. You want to use a good strong thread. You want to put a little super glue on the hook first, because you really don't want this at all to move. It's important that the thread doesn't roll around, because you're trying to keep the colors separated and in the correct location. You don't really need to put a lot of thread on this hook. This is going to be a reverse tie, so all the materials are going to go right towards the front there. and I'm just giving myself a good base so that the materials don't move around. Now I'm going to take a 2-second pause and let this super glue get hard, because if the super glue is not dry, it's an absolute nightmare. So be right back. Okay, so we're back and the super glue is dry now. So the first material that I'm going to put on is white craft fur, or it's not actually white, it's like an off-white. And it's important to me that this craft fur not be as long as all the other craft fur. So this particular clump of craft fur is going to be considerably shorter than the rest of the craft fur. So you have two ways of doing this. You could put this one last, or you could put this one first. I like to put it first just because I've done a lot of these flies. I have a good idea of the length that I'm looking for, and that's about the length right there that I'm looking for. So keeping in mind that this is a reverse tie, I'm going to go ahead and trim. And now I'm going to tie this in on the bottom of the hook in reverse tie fashion. And to keep these separate, the trick is that I'm going to take one lap around just the craft fur, and now I'm going to place the craft fur exactly where I want it on the hook, pinching it tightly. Another wrap, just a loose wrap, just making sure that I like where it is. And now I can start to pull this tight, put a couple wraps in. Before I go nuts wrapping this, I do make sure that I like the placement, which I do. It looks really good right there. And now I'm going to go ahead, keeping it pinched really hard, and I'm going to make sure that that is locked in right in the position that I want it. Now this remaining little tag, you could trim it or you can leave it, it won't show. I'm probably going to end up trimming it, but I'll probably end up trimming it after I put a little bit more craft fur on. Okay, so now this is a reverse tie. So keeping that in mind, the color that I put on next is going to be the color that lands on top. So the order that I want my three colors, I want the sandy color to be in between the white or the off-white and the yellow. So the next color that I need to put on is the yellow, because once we push it over, that will land on top. Now the yellow, I want it to be considerably longer than the white. So I'm going to probably use pretty much the entire little clump that I have in my hand here. The only thing I did right now is I trimmed up the edges just so I had a nice neat edge. And you can see it's not really as long as I would have hoped. It would have been a little bit longer, but that's all we got, so that's what we're going to go with. I can trim a little bit the white once we push everything back. So we're going to do the same thing, once around just the yellow, and now around the yellow and the hook. And the important thing that this does is it keeps my colors separated. So now, of course, when we do the reverse tie, when we push this all back, we have to be careful when we, that we don't blend everything together. And that came out beautiful. Now at this point, I like to put in a little bit of flash in the front. And for flash in the front, I'm going to use a little bit of silver angel hair. Not a lot, just a little. But I think that the angel hair will give this just the right amount of something more. So I'm going to take the angel hair and I'm going to fold it in half. Then I'm going to cut open that loop. And now you can either put it on there, or like I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the thread. I'm not going to make it even. I'm making one side a little bit longer, which will help keep this just being a little bit nice. And now when I push this forward, because it's a reverse tie, I'm going to try and open it up a little. Try and distribute this a little using my nail so that I'm on both sides of the yellow. And once I'm happy with that, I can get that kind of locked in. Just like that. Checking it. Don't really want too much silver going down. I want it all to be on the yellow, not really on the white. Okay. So now it's the last color, which is the sand. Which basically we're going to end up using the entire clump, just like the yellow. And again, same process, just around the craft fur. Alright, just around the craft fur, and now around the craft fur and the hook. And now I know that I could see that it's in a good location, so I could just pull this tight. Beautiful. That's a good blend right there. That yellow and sand. I think that looks really good. So now I'm going to take a second and I'm going to trim these tags. Alright. And now what I'm going to do is put my Flashabou opal on. The Flashabou opal is a pretty easy little clump, and it's going to sit straight out the back. I don't know, I'm going to take, 5, 6, 7 strands, whatever this little clump is. It's going to get trimmed, so there's nothing really here to consider. I'm just going to put it on the hook. So I'm going to put it on my thread, and now I'm just going to take it right to the hook and get it attached right on the top of the hook, just like that. And again, by folding it over, you make it pretty tough. And this will all get trimmed. Alright, so now I'm going to bring my thread back forward. And now this is important. I'm feeling where the eye of the hook is, because when I do this reverse tie, I want to leave enough room so that I have room to make that UV resin head. So now what I'm doing now is I'm kind of just using my fingers to start to separate the colors. And take your time. Use your tools, use your needles, use anything you need to use to make sure that you get the colors in the right orientation. You want the white underneath and the yellow on top. And once you start getting them where you want them, that's when I get my tool out, my little push tool, which helps me get everything pushed. And this is the phase right here on this tie where you just have to take your time. So now I have the fly in the basic orientation that I like, but now I'm just gonna take my time here and make sure that everything is where I want it. It looks pretty good right now. It looks like the white is underneath and the yellow is on top. That little blend came out, I think, really great. And now what you do now, once you're happy with this, is you take your thread bobbin and you run it parallel to the hook, and then you start making a wall right in front of the craft fur. So this gives you a couple of options. This is right now what is called a hollow tie, and I'll show you in a second. Once you build up enough of this wall, you can decide if you want to finish the fly in this hollow tie, just like that. That would be a hollow tie. But I'm not going for this look in this fly. I'm going for a reverse tie. So I'm going to take this thread and I'm actually going to put a few more wraps in, and then once I'm satisfied, which I am, making sure that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. You know, you just have to take your time and make sure that everything is where you want it. And when you're happy with that, then you start taking a wrap over the fly. Now, before I go nuts, I check it again, because I could still move things if I'm not happy. But if I'm happy, and I am, I'm going to go ahead and get this cranked down. And now it's time for a whip finish. And I'm going to use my whip finish tool because I just think it comes out nicer for me. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my thread down and give this a second whip finish on the lower section, which is really unnecessary because I'm going to do that UV resin head, but I don't know, it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like everything is nice and secured here. Now I could cut my thread off. Okay, so in a lot of other videos I have actually taken the time to make the head. Might just go fast forward through that and put another link on how I make the heads. Okay, so there it is. I think this fly came out great. I was thinking about putting a little bit of angel hair like I did on, for example, on this fly. Put a little angel hair on the top just to give it a little contrast. I could still come back and use a marker and very easily do a little barring on the yellow if I wanted to. But I like to have different flies. So now I have a nice little variety here that any given fly could work on any given day. I personally think that fly came out pretty nice. That UV is going to shine through. That silver that we put in the middle, when this fly gets wet, I promise you that silver is going to be shining through. And when this fly is going through the water, it's going to have just that little shimmer, that little ripple that might be what triggers a bite. So I like this. I don't want to over flash the fly. Be on the lookout for some future flies. So what I do, I think I've talked about how I like to make my shrimp eyes. I like to make my dubbing. So what I do is I take the leftover from all these flies I've been making, the little stuff that I pull out, and I put them in little bags. This one's a little bit more tan and yellow. This one has the orange. And I'll throw a little bit of like Sanyo flash in here. And then I'll take a coffee grinder and grind it all up. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a video on how I make dubbing. That's kind of cool. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Having a blast making these flies. Hope you're having a cocktail with me. And good luck catching, and see you on the next video.